Can the Blue Jackets win back-to-back games for the first time since the end of October? Plus, KJ season is back in business. That's what we're talking about on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get things started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. I also have to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. And I thought I would get started today with some roster moves, because approximately 45 minutes after I recorded yesterday's episode, the Blue Jackets decided, hey, this is the perfect time to make some moves. So David Jiricek and Mikael Pyhhtia have both been assigned to Cleveland, which is the correct call for both of them. I'm shocked that both of them went. I thought for sure that they would only send one of them, but activating Kent Johnson, which hasn't happened officially yet, but my guess is it'll happen probably, again, about 45 minutes after this episode is recorded, so we're just going to act as if he has been activated. That's fine. That's how we do things sometimes on daily podcasting, is we just have to assume things will happen. But this leaves the Blue Jackets with one spare forward and one spare defenseman. Yeah, like I said, I'm a little surprised that they sent both of them. Individually, I'm not surprised. I think David Jiricek has needed to go to Cleveland for weeks. And Mikael Pyhhtia has looked good, but I don't think is quite ready for the role that they want to put him in, which is a middle six role that can contribute offensively, because he's got a hell of a shot on him and he just wasn't shooting the puck. So, you know, David Jiricek, we've talked at length, hasn't been able to get in the lineup, hasn't looked great while he's been in the lineup, despite the fact that his underlying stats are pretty good. This is the right choice. Send him down to Cleveland, stick him and Denton Matejchuk together with like flypaper or super glue or whatever the hell you want, and keep them together. This is a set. Do not separate. It's the right call. It means that hopefully people will stop, trying to trade him for like bags of pucks and spare parts. My assumption is no, but hey, we live in hope, but my only caveat with the Jiricek send down is that I think this has to be not permanent, but it has to be like long term, Don't do the thing where call him up and send him down and call him up and send him down and call him up and send him down. He spent a bunch of time last year as healthy scratches for the Blue Jackets when the Monsters were actively playing games, So don't do that. Keep him down there. If you think he's ready to come back up, bring him up. Don't do the thing where you send him down for 3 games and then call him up for a game and then send him down and then send him in the press box for 3 weeks. It's the right call as long as they do it in the right way, Mikael Pyhhtia, I think, is also the right call. I feel less strongly about this. Like, I would have been perfectly happy if they kept him up, but it's kind of a similar-ish situation of, like, with Kent Johnson coming back, like, likely Pyhhtia is going to be the odd man out in this situation. I probably would play him over James Van Riemsdyk, for example. Maybe not, actually. I was thinking about it. Like, Pyhhtia feels like the easy odd man out, and also he's the only one that doesn't require waivers, that is not a night in, night out guy, Like, Fantilli is waivers exempt. They're not going to send Fantilli down. Voronkov waivers exempt. They're not going to send Voronkov down, although I'm surprised they didn't do it with like a conditioning stint. Anyway, but like, of the guys that are kind of rotating in and out of the lineup at the minute, you've got Zach Aston Reese, you've got Kevin LeBanc, you've got James Van Riemsdyk, you've got Mikael Pyhhtia. Like, of those 4 guys, Pyhhtia's the only one that is waivers exempt. So my guess is they send him down to Cleveland and he hopefully starts filling the net down there and like starts shooting the puck as well, because let me pull up his AHL stats actually. But like, he had a heck of a shot when he was playing in Finland, which is where he was before he was with Cleveland the past couple of seasons, he had a really, really good shot on him. And he hasn't been doing that at the big level. And I don't know whether that's, he's just not getting the opportunities or he's not getting the, is he not getting the opportunities? Is he not getting the time, the space? Is it that he's playing where he is in the lineup? But he spent a bunch of time with Adam Fantilli, and if you're not shooting the puck with Adam Fantilli on your line, then maybe something has gone a little bit wrong there. So he only has 11 shots so far this season in 17 games, so he's averaging less than a shot a game. By comparison, he had in 60 games with Cleveland last season, he had 92 shots on goal. So my hope is he goes back down to Cleveland, fortifies that, not that they need fortification, really. They're doing, Cleveland is doing pretty well at the minute. A 6-game winning streak. Rocco Grimaldi is third overall in league scoring, which is really fun. And I do feel very vindicated about that, of, hey, the Monsters should sign this guy. Lo and behold, look what's happening. But, yeah. Send Jiricek down, put him with Matejchuk, send Pyhhtia down, put him in the top 6 in Cleveland, let them both kind of cook a little bit longer. Mikael Pyhhtia feels like he's right there. He's really, really close to being a maybe not a consistent middle sixer, but I think he could be a really good third liner for this team. I don't think his skill set is not fourth line, but if you can slot him in on the third line, and maybe get him power play 2 time. He was playing some PK time with Dean Everson, which was fun. He'll be fine. Jiricek will also be fine. But like I said, I am kind of surprised that they said both of them, because now when they activate Ken Johnson, that gives them the roster number of 22. And I know a lot of teams like to carry 23 unless they are right up against the cap, which the Blue Jackets are so far from up against the cap. So is there a forward call up happening? Is there is there something kind of brewing there? I know that, again, speaking of Rocco Grimaldi, for example, he's still on his PTO, which I learned a little bit more about this, maybe not yesterday, but maybe the day before. His PTO is for 25 games with the option to sign for another 25 at the end of that 25. He's currently played 11 games for the Monsters. Sources are saying that he's kind of holding out. He wants to get that 2-way contract with the Blue Jackets. He wants an NHL contract. He doesn't want just a specific AHL contract. I think, the way things are going, again, he's leading the team in scoring. He's got 18 points in 11 games. He's at the top of he's third in league scoring, which, again, 18 points in 11 games. The 3 players ahead of him, Colin Graff has 19 points in 14. Vinny Hinostroza has 19 points in 13. Rory Cairns has 19 points in 17. If you look at anyone that's played more than 10 games, Rocco Grimaldi is leading the league in points per score, in points per game. Not tied with, but Jansen Harkins of the San Diego Gulls has been called up, but he's at 155 points a game. Rocco Grimaldi is sitting at 164. So I wonder if there's maybe something there. Do they want to maybe call, are they trying to figure out a contract with Grimaldi? Call him up. Maybe he's that extra roster spot. This is all kind of wild speculation, but it's I connected some dots while I was thinking about it yesterday, while I was looking at what the Monsters were doing. And while I was learning about Rocco Grimaldi is hoping for an NHL contract, which, again, 11 games is a small sample size, but he was really, really good on a miserably bad Chicago Wolves team last year. In terms of league-wide scoring, he finished second in the league in scoring. He had 36 goals on Chicago, 73 points in 72 games. Second place on the team was Chris Terry, who had 50 points. So he had 23 points more than the next player on the Chicago Wolves. I don't know that he is an everyday NHL player, but I think signs are, the Monsters needed a lot more veteran scoring. Rocco Grimaldi has come along, has replaced some of the vets that they lost in the offseason. And frankly, I think he's earned the think he's earned the right to at least a cup of coffee with the Blue Jackets this season. He's one of those guys that I feel like if there's, knock on wood, an injury in the bottom six, you can slot him in and he will be absolutely fine. And it means that you don't have to like disrupt the development of one of your younger players to call up instead. So that's how I feel about that. Do I think that any of that is what Domodal is cooking right now? Not necessarily, but the fact that they have sent both players down makes me wonder if there's another roster move when Johnson's activated, which we'll talk about in a minute. Once Johnson is back, that gives them 22 of 23 roster spots. So they have got a spare spot. We'll see what happens with it. Maybe they'll go insane and they'll call up Jet Greaves and try him for a couple of games because Tarasov is struggling right now. But again, wild speculation, as we love to do on this show. The fact of the matter is, sending Jiricek and Pyhhtia to Cleveland is the right call for both of them. Keep Jiricek down there. Do not do the yo-yo that he did last season, because that, I think, will just make things even worse. So take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about Ken Johnson returning from injury and what that means for the Blue Jackets. And this is maybe the best news we've heard in a minute. So we'll talk about that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I'm going to tell you about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app also gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL and all other sports, NBA, NHL, college, MLB when it returns. You can do that all in one place. You don't have to have 17 different ESPN tabs open. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Again, if you win your first $5 bet, which, hey, maybe you put some money on Ken Johnson scoring a goal tonight, that feels like a pretty safe bet to me. If you win, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets that you can bet on whatever you want with. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I've also got to tell you about Game Time, because I love last-minute tickets to things. Like, I love to not make a plan and then just decide, hey, I'm going to go do a thing. And you can do that at Game Time really, really easily. And it's not just sports. It's concerts. It's, theater. It's comedy. It's like things that are technically classed as sports, but maybe aren't sports, like NASCAR. Don't come for me, NASCAR fans. Game Time also has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorites play even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They've got a low price guarantee, which means if you find tickets in your section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets, and we're talking about Ken Johnson in this segment. He has been out for, 14 games, I think he's missed, which is not ideal, especially when you consider the start he was having with the Blue Jackets, but it sounds like he is back earlier than he thought he was going to be, which is extremely good news. Again, very small sample size at the start of the season, but he looked excellent during the preseason, and then had 5 points in his first 4 games of the season, including the one versus Buffalo where he left. He only played 6 minutes because he got hurt. I think during the second, early on in the second period, I think he got hurt, and he still managed to record a point in that game, despite the fact that he only played 8 shifts. So really, really great start to the season. Can he keep it going? I really hope so. He struggled last season. I think everyone, including him, would admit that. He spent a bunch of time with the Monsters where he, dominated, quite frankly. So I really, really hope that this is he can come back and he can be exactly as good as he was 14 games ago. He talked a little bit. He was like, they said, quote unquote, long term with him, but not as long as Jenner or Gabranson. And that's About where we're at. He's been out for 5 weeks, I want to say. I've lost there it is. So he last played October 17th. So he's actually only been out for like a month and 4 days, which it feels like it's been so much longer, but 14 games is nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like, again, when you look at how long Jenner's going to be out for and how long Gabransson's going to be out for, like, getting Kent Johnson back after a month is great news. And he's going to slot back in on the top 6, which is going to be great. They've put him and Fantilli together. James Van Riemsdyk is on the line, is on that line as well, he was not my first choice for that, but considering Adam Fantilli has been making a lot of great plays and no one has been at the net to receive them, James Van Riemsdyk has made a career out of standing in front of the net and just like deflecting pucks or poking pucks in. So like he did it in the most recent game against I'm sure it was the game against Boston. It was that Fantilli passed to Werenski and then Werenski shot at the net, and James Van Riemsdyk was exactly where he needed to be to just kind of boop the puck in. So if they can get, let Fantilli do his thing, let Ken Johnson do his thing, and then just make James Van Riemsdyk stand in front of the goalie and just deflect every puck they shoot at him, like that could be sneaky good. It wouldn't have been my choice. I probably would have had Chinakhov there. Chinakhov is down playing with Sillinger and Olivier at the minute. Olivier also could have been an option, which is something I hadn't considered until someone mentioned it on Twitter the other day. Of like, he works hard, he goes to the net. He can, crash along the boards. I don't know that he's ready for like second line minutes. I don't know that he can keep up with Fantilli and Johnson necessarily, but like it might not be a bad idea. But having Ken Johnson back is great for the depth of this team. It's going to give Adam Fantilli some support, because that's been the biggest issue I've had with the offense so far this season. Is it feels like that they have their top line of Monahan between whichever Russians you want to put in between, and then Adam Fantilli just kind of gets whatever's left and has I think not struggled. Struggled feels like the wrong word, because he's playing well. He's just not putting the puck in the net, give him someone like Ken Johnson to play with. I think that could be the missing piece for the Fantilli line. And then honestly, if Fantilli and Ken Johnson click the way that we think that they might, like, put whoever you want as the third person on that line, put me on as the third person on that line, and it will probably work out okay, So again, we'll see how it goes. They're playing Tampa Bay tonight, which is going to be an interesting game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Ken Johnson being back is such good news for this team. Like I said, he's 5 points in 4 games to start the season. Like, he had a goal and an assist against Minnesota, a goal against Colorado, an assist against Florida, and an assist against Buffalo. He's playing way more ice time than he has at any point in his career. Like, his average is 1646, but again, you've got to take into account the fact that he only played 6.5 minutes against Buffalo. Again, small sample size, but he played 18:05 in the first game, 21:30 in the second, 21:03 in the third. I believe in that Colorado game, he actually led all forwards in ice time. Looks like he's going to be on first unit power play. Hopefully they get him back on the penalty kill, because again, I think he was shockingly good on the penalty kill, and that's like no disrespect to him, and that's just not something that I thought like you would have gotten out of Kent Johnson. But it's also not something you think about with Mitch Marner. Honestly, is I never think about Mitch Marner as being like a defensive stalwart, but actually he is one of the better defensive wingers in the game right now, which is, kind of fun. And he plays on the PK a lot. So if you can get like a Mitch Marner out of Kent Johnson, like, go ahead and do it, So he's going to make this team better in all situations, on all sides of the ice. And hopefully he and Fantilli hit it right off, because again, they looked good when they played together in preseason. I think they got some time together in the regular season. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. But it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from injury. I'm not expecting, like, and I know that I just said in the ad read that, like, expect Ken Johnson to score a goal tonight. Like, he is on a like, he's just come back from injury, so I'm expecting him to kind of be not slow, but it'll probably take him a minute to get back into it. So, like, maybe he's kind of quiet this game as he tries to figure things out. I guess he and Fantilli didn't play much together in the regular season. So Money Puck only lets me go for a minimized time of 10 minutes. We've played less than 10 minutes with Fantilli if they've played together at all. So let's see how it goes. I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fun. So let's talk about tonight's game, because that's why we're all here, honestly. We'll take a quick break, and then when we get back, we'll talk about Tampa, how they're looking this season, how the Blue Jackets match up against them, and what last season looked like against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll do that in just a second. Now we're Locked On Blue Jackets. First, though, let's talk about Prize Picks. What is Prize Picks? Well, it's the best place to get real money sports action. They've got over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, so Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you got to do is pick more or less than at least 2 plays for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It's the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, which is great if you're a Blue Jackets fan. Your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first period and doesn't return, Prize Picks is going to keep your lineup live. And they invented the flex play, which means that you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect, double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. They also offer Venmo now for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. All you need to do is play that $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the bonus. It's guaranteed. And then you can use that $50 to create a bunch more lineups. Hot takes, easy wins. You can do it all on Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. Let's talk about tonight's game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Last season, the Blue Jackets did not fare great against Tampa Bay. They won 1 game, lost 2. Got outscored 11-8, which honestly is not as bad as I thought it might be. But it's still and Tampa Bay was good last year. Tampa Bay is still good this year, but I feel like they're a little bit more mortal right now, and I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm just making that up. But they're on a 3-game winning streak right now. They just beat Pittsburgh. They needed overtime to do it, which is kind of wild. They beat New Jersey, and they also just beat Winnipeg as well. So, I'm not sitting here being yeah, this is an easy game compared to previous seasons. In the last 10 games, the Lightning are 6-3-1. They are currently 10-6-1 on the season, and I believe a third in the Atlantic Division right now, unless last night's win has bumped them, or the night before's win, sorry, has bumped them up over. No. So they are at third place in the Atlantic Division right now. They've got a goal differential of +12. They know how to score goals. They also know how to not allow goals. They're currently sitting at 7th in goals for per game, scoring an average of 3.5 goals a game. They're only allowing 2.7 goals a game on average, which is good for 11th in the league. Blue Jackets are kind of hovering around that 12th overall mark in the league. They're scoring 3.2 goals per game, and they're allowing 3.44 goals per game, which is good for 24th in the league. They're still kind of trying to recover from that losing streak where they forgot how to score goals and also how to not allow goals. But the Tampa Bay power play is only 18th in the league. The penalty kill is 20th in the league. They're really feasting at 5-on-5 here. So, I don't know necessarily that the key is to kind of take the fight to the special teams. Blue Jackets sitting at 24th on the power play and 14th in the penalty kill. But 5-on-5 is where the Lightning are going to feast. In terms of power play goals, Braden Point has 5, Jake Gensel has 2. No one else has more than 1. Hedman has 1, and Kucherov has 1. So, Oh, and Anthony Cirelli has one as well. Like Brandon Hagel has 17 points, no goals on the power play. Like Nick Paul, 13 points, no goals on the power play. Victor Hedman, 17 points, 1 power play goal. Like they are feasting at 5-on-5, which is going to make it interesting. The Blue Jackets, I feel like also a lot of their strength comes at 5-on-5, so it'll be, like I said, it'll be really interesting to see what happens there. In terms of like offense creation versus offense suppression or defense creation, I don't know which one it is, but the Blue Jackets have crept up to 5th in the league in shots per game. They are shooting 31.5 shots a game on average. Whereas the Tampa Bay Lightning are only shooting 27.4 on average. So that's 23rd in the league right now. So they are getting, again, but they're scoring a lot. They're just not shooting a lot. So like really efficient scoring is what's happening there. They're not allowing a ton of shots either, though. They are allowing 27 in a game as well, which is about what the Blue Jackets, it's a 1 shot fewer than the Blue Jackets are allowing per game. So like, should we expect a low event game? Probably not. The Tampa Bay Lightning have some really lethal shooters. Nikita Kucherov has 11 goals already on the season, 26 points. Then they've got Braden Hagel, Jake Gensel, and Anthony Cirelli all have 15 points. Braden Point has 17 points, sorry. Braden Point has 15. Nick Paul has 13. Victor Hedman has 17 points. So they've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that are a point a game or better right now. And Nikita Kucherov is always dangerous. And I feel like he specifically targets the Blue Jackets. So, like, their offense is lethal. They've also got one of the better goalies in the league in Andrei Vasilevsky, who's currently sitting at a .919 save percentage. He's 9-5-1. He's got 2 shutouts already. I'm going to go ahead and assume that Elvis is going to start tonight. I think you don't. And again, you go with a hot hand. Tarasov is struggling, and like sometimes the best way to get out of a rut is to just kind of fight through it. But I don't know that you can afford to, with the position that you're in the league right now, I don't know that you can afford to let Tarasov figure it out against a team like the Lightning. You know, you want to put your best goalie in there right now. Elvis is the best goalie. So I imagine that'll be Elvis versus Vasilevsky. We might get lucky and get Jonas Johansson. Although I feel like he beat the Blue Jackets pretty handily last season. I'm just pulling up his last season stats because this is a name that I remember, and maybe I'm lying. It doesn't look like he played against the Blue Jackets last season, so maybe I am making that up. But it would be great if they could play against Johansson. I think that would be nice for us. However, the Lightning played 2 nights ago, I believe. Yep, they played on the 19th, so the Tuesday night. And I don't think they play tomorrow. I'm just, again, pulling that up to make sure. No, they're not playing tomorrow either. So my assumption is Vasilevsky, unless they look at the Blue Jackets and they're like, no, it's fine. We can throw the backup in. However, their backup is also struggling right now. 866 save percentage. He's got 1 win in 3 attempts. And he's allowed 11 goals in 3 games. So what do you do with that? You know, like you might as well just play Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky usually plays a ton every season anyway. He's not up there in terms of like goalies that play a bajillion games, but he played 52 games last season, 60 out of 82 the season before, 63 the season before that. Like he's played a lot of hockey. They know that they can count on him. So my guess is that we'll see Vasilevsky, who it looks like would have faced the Blue Jackets all 3 times last season. He had a .938 in 1 game, which they won. He had a .943 in another game, which they also won. And then I believe it was a game right at the beginning of the season, was the 3rd game against the Blue Jackets. But I cannot for the life of me find it. So let's see if I can reverse engineer this. Vasilevsky is good. He played 2 games against the Blue Jackets last season, had a 9, what did I say, like a 943 and a 920 something, like extremely good numbers. And like he kind of just does, like it's not a specific Blue Jackets thing. He plays well a lot of the time. It would have been the game against Tampa Bay on the 23rd. Elvis was in net. Who was the goalie for the Lightning? Why can't I find this out? Okay. It was Matt Tompkins. Jonas Johansson was backing up in that game, so they had their like 3rd string goalie in that game, which was a wild choice to make. I think maybe Vasilevsky was recovering from surgery, and I guess they played the night before or the night after, so the Blue Jackets got lucky and they got to face Matt Tompkins, 3rd string goalie. He was fine, but anyway, my point is, when Vasilevsky is in net, it gives the Lightning a chance to win. When Kucherov is in the lineup, it gives them a chance to win. Like, this is going to be a tough game for the Blue Jackets. In terms of who's kind of hot right now, so to speak, obviously the answer for the Lightning is Kucherov. It's always Kucherov. He's got 6 points in his last 5 games. 5 of them are assists. On the flip side, Zach Werenski has 5 points in his last 5 games, 4 assists. Chinakhov has 2 goals in the last 5 games. And Ken Johnson's back. So, like, I just have a good feeling about tonight's game. Maybe it will all come crashing down around me. But I think it's going to be a good game. Do I think the Blue Jackets are going to win? I hope so. I guess this is where I make my predictions. And again, I've bet on the Blue Jackets every single time I've done this, and I'm not going to stop that now. I'm going to go with the same scoreline that there was in Pittsburgh, but I'm going to say the Blue Jackets win 3-2. I think it's going to be regulation. I think it's going to be stressful. I think there's going to be a last-minute empty net bid that's going to be horrible to watch if you're like me and you have high blood pressure anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bet on an Adam Fantilli goal. I think Ken Johnson returns, and I think Adam Fantilli is immediately going to score a goal about it. So that's my thoughts for the game. Tomorrow we'll break them down. We'll talk about tonight's game, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know how it goes. Thank you for listening to this episode, for making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked on Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jackets. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, you can email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.